Good morning, everybody, and welcome to day 11. I woke up early this morning, got up just before the sun, and immediately hit the road. Just let the Pajero Mini warm up, and we're out here. And just as expected, this canyon is sweet. Just the landscape that just kind of crawls back of all these little canyons. We're up on this ridge right now, and we've been following it for the last, 20-ish miles. And the whole goal today is to make it to Moab. And that's something I'm really excited about. I love Moab. It might be one of my favorite places in the whole world. And I'm very, very excited to take the Pajero Mini on some of the iconic trails out there. So I'm feeling inspired this morning. I'm feeling like I got a vision of where I want to go, but I've got a lot of miles between me and there. I think I have about 55 miles of dirt and rocks and gravel between me and the next town, which isn't a bad thing. I've been really enjoying this road. It's definitely slow going, so it's not the bombing down the roads that I was doing earlier, like yesterday when I was doing like 45 miles an hour. I'm doing closer to like 5 to 10, so it's going to take some time. My goal is to be in Escalante by lunch, grab some lunch there, and then I have to hit some main roads, go through some national parks to drop down into Moab. But if the view keeps looking like this the whole way, it's a great time. That sign right there says Escalante 41 miles, and it's 41 miles completely of dirt. I currently have a half tank, and it says I've gone 135 kilometers, so I need to do some math here. I'm pretty sure I'm okay. Right? Yeah, I should be fine. It appears that the road has started to smooth out, which is great because, man, it is fun to drive this thing fast. I gotta be pretty careful though. There definitely are still some rocks, just a little, sticking up just enough. Oh. Hang on, just saw something cool. It's another one of those tracks. Just so sick. In Colorado, there's a bunch of this stuff, and in Montana, there's a bunch of old mining equipment like this, and it does just feel like art when it's out here and it's rusting away. Like I said yesterday, it tells a story of like what life used to be like out here and what people were doing to get out here. I just think stuff like that is so cool. I'm hoping that this road smooths out a little bit, just for variety. I have really enjoyed the rock features on this trail so far, but it'd be nice to pick up the pace just a touch and cruise around a little. I do have to be really careful out here because if you're going around a corner really fast and you hit a rock going 30 miles an hour, even though this thing's pretty light and it'll absorb it, that can be catastrophic for suspension. I'm mostly worried about my tie rods. They're just so small, and I know they're proportional to the vehicle, but there's just something about seeing a tie rod that small that freaks me out. So I'm gonna cautiously proceed on this road, but it's looking a lot smoother from here on out. I'm at another crossroads here. This has got Hole in the Rock Road, Escalante going that direction, and Big Water, which is where I was yesterday. So I could actually follow this in a loop and go back to Arizona, but that's not the goal. I've been to Hole in the Rock Road before. I've gone to some slot canyons over there, and that road is very washboardy. So I'm going to risk it, and I'm going to go that direction and hope that it's a little better. Maybe there's someone out there that thinks washboard roads are fun. Maybe if you've got like King coilovers or Icon suspension or something really intense, you can like dial it in and it's fun. But I have not found a single vehicle a single time where I'm like, wow, this is really great. Washboard is the best. So I'm trying to avoid that at all costs. I'd rather go low and slow and creepy crawl over rocks and stuff than hit washboard at any speed for any amount of time. Well, I should be careful what I wish for because this road is not flowy at all. It's not washboardy, but it's definitely more of the same. You got this nice long downhill, and I'm still having a lot of fun cruising on this. I gotta really watch my speed though. There's a lot of ruts and dips like you can see here, and if I hit those with too much speed, they're gonna be a problem. But I've been in 4 high most of this time, so I'm not doing quite the ascents and descents that I was before. 4 high seems to be working out just fine. And I'll give it this. It is very, very pretty over here. Oh yeah, look at that wash. I bet that would be fun to explore. It turns out that this is 25 miles of just little rocks in a road. I've got to get out and walk around and take a stretch break. This road is pretty punishing. It's like you get going a little bit and then there's a bunch of rocks you got to slow down, then you get going a little bit and then it's rocking around. And I think the Pajero Mini is holding up better than I am. I am a little nervous to get it back on the road. This has been almost 250 miles of dirt in the last 3 days. And it's doing great. It doesn't seem to be having any issues, but when we get back on the blacktop, that's when we'll really see if there's any kind of gremlins or issues with it. So I'm gonna take a quick stretch break. I'm gonna walk around and then we gotta get back at it. We got 15 more miles of this to go. Back on the road. As if on cue, we're into the smooth stuff. Hopefully this lasts. If I have 15 miles of this, I will be stoked. We're back to smooth roads and beautiful landscape. I actually saw my first other people not too long ago. I haven't seen another person in a long time. It was a bunch of guys hauling out horse trailers. So chances are good this road is pretty smooth for the rest of the time. And this scenery is awesome. There's another guy right there with some dogs. I can see the road right there. I can see pavement. I've driven 200 kilometers, a little more than that actually, off-road. I've been on the road for 4 hours just this morning. I'm excited to pound the pavement for a little bit. But now we get to see how the Pajero Mini fared after all of that time on the dirt and the rocks. So far it feels good, but we're not going over 25 miles an hour. Later today when we hit the highway, that'll be the real test. Made it through Escalante, got fuel, got food, got some coffee, got myself a little snack. We are ready to go. Got this thing aired up and it runs perfect. I mean, honestly, I expected it to run perfect. I really did. It's just been killing it out here. Almost 200 miles of dirt. 200 miles, 3 days, almost entirely off-road. And this thing just jumps back onto the pavement and it's just cruising. I'm cruising doing 55. The Pajero Mini is the answer. Man, it just does everything. What a rad adventure vehicle. So I'm headed out towards Moab. I need to go through a couple different things. I'm going to Capitol Reef National Park. I'm just going to pass through there. And then I'm going to go to Green River, where I might actually hit up one of my favorite taco shops in the world, and then bombing down to Moab. So I've got about 175 miles of pavement, mostly back roads, not really major highways in front of me. And I'm looking forward to a smoother ride. I've moved on from Escalante and the state park there, and I've been climbing up this hill over this mountain pass for about the last 15 minutes. I'm in third gear, going really slow, 25, 30 miles an hour at between 4,000 and 5,000 RPM. And we're above 9,000 feet up here. So the air is thin, the grade is steep, and the Pajero Mini is handling it with no problem. I mean, I'm going slow, don't get me wrong. Already been passed by one car, but this thing is just climbing up this hill. It seems like if it's in the boost, it's pretty happy. Doesn't matter if it's going up a grade or whatever. You just gotta let the car do its thing. And if it wants to go slow, but it wants to chug, it'll do it. I'm approaching the summit right now. 9,600 feet. And off in the distance, you can see the mountains. They're covered in snow. There's snow in the ditches on the side of the road here. And the Pajero Mini is right at home. What a climb. Man, it's crazy up here. We got aspen forest. We were in the desert just a couple minutes ago, and now we're in the high mountains. That's wild. Little update on the Pajero Mini. The steering wheel is still shaking, which isn't surprising to me. It's hard to say if it's gotten better or worse. It's been doing this since day one. And it's kind of any speeds over 40 miles per hour, it'll shake. But then if you kind of load up the steering wheel and you kind of lean into it a little bit, it goes away. So I'm not 100% sure what that's about. I mentioned when I was hanging out with my friends in Sand Hollow that there might be a little bit of play in that steering rack, and that might be the case. It's really hard to detect without the proper kind of equipment to jack up one side and get it kind of situated, or two people to check it out, and unfortunately I just didn't have someone checking it. The other thing is it could just be a tire balance issue. Now Johnny, the guy who sold me this car, actually got these tires balanced before I picked it up, so I want to believe that they're balanced. However, it's possible that these are just really cheap aftermarket wheels, and so the balance just isn't that good. This could be fixed or tested by either rotating the tires front to back to see if it changes it at all, or just taking the tires off and balancing them. Both things I'm planning on doing when I get home. At this point, I'm pretty used to it in the trip. It doesn't super bug me. You just hold the steering wheel loose and expect it as you go down the road. One thing that did happen today is I lost my mirror. I had a mirror that I had duct taped on there. I've got that mirror, but when I bought the car, it was missing this mirror, so I just picked up a convex mirror and put it on there. So the duct tape came off. I still have two mirrors, but I'm gonna have to re-duct tape that when I get to Moab tonight. But after 200 miles on rocks and dirt and gravel, if all I lost is a mirror that I duct taped on poorly back in Phoenix, Arizona, I'd say we're doing pretty good. This incredibly straight, very long stretching section of road. I think this might be where that famous movie scene from Forrest Gump is shot, where he's running. I'm not 100% sure, but I gotta stop and take a picture either way. I have been on this long straight road for what feels like 45 minutes. Cruising comfortably at 65 miles an hour. The steering wheel isn't shaking that bad. But you know what would be nice? Cruise control. Cruise control. That would be really nice. I haven't really wanted it all trip, but right now I'm missing something right here. We got like 20 more miles until Green River. Made it into Green River. I'm getting 22 miles per gallon. Feeling pretty good about the road trip right now, and I am headed to one of my favorite places in the world. It's a little abandoned gas station here in Green River, Utah, with the best tacos I think I've ever had. I am so excited. Man, that place is the best. La Pasadita here in Green River, Utah. My wife and I stumbled across this thing in the dark one night, and we're like, oh, I don't know, maybe they have good tacos. And it's just this abandoned gas station with just the best stuff. So had to stop there. Feeling full, feeling good. Now I'm headed down to see if I can find a way into Arches National Park for a little more off-roading. We've made it to Moab, Utah. So I am on the Willow Springs Trail, which is a back way to get into Arches National Park. I know I've been avoiding national parks a little bit on this trip, but this is a back road and people know about it. but I've never done it in this car. I've never done it in a car, actually. I've done it on a dirt bike. And so I wanted to check it out. I might be able to get into the national park before the sun sets. Well, we'll see. But either way, I'm going to air down and hit this track. Well, I was hoping to make it into the park by sunset, but I think those dreams are going down with the sun that you can see setting in the background right there. But I'd rather spend my evening off-roading than doing pretty much anything else. I am so excited to be here in Moab. It's got to be one of my favorite places on the planet. So I'm aired down pretty low. I'm about 12 PSI roughly in all four corners. I think it'll give me a little more grip. And most of the trails I'm doing, I won't need a ton of ground clearance. Usually when I'm here in Moab, I get hung up on the rear end of my Gen 3 or my Gen 2. It's just the departure angle isn't that great. But this one has an awesome departure angle. However, we'll see about with the small tires, we'll see about that approach angle. Only one way to find out. Let's go wheeling. Out in the distance, you got the La Salle Mountains with snow on them. Oh, this place is amazing. Well, I did make it to the park just in time for the sun to be setting. So I'm gonna take a tour around, see the sights while there's still just a little bit of light. It's so pretty out here. The sun has officially set here in Arches. What an epic end to an epic day. So I'm actually not in Moab yet. I'm just outside because Arches is just outside of there. Oh, you can see Balance Rock right there. Oh, I gotta get a better shot of that. There's Balance Rock right in the sunset. How cool is that? So I need to head into town. I need to pick up some supplies. I gotta get my hands on that steak that I talked about last night. And then I need to find a place to camp. All right, that's a wrap on day 11. This has been a wild day. I have spent 12 hours driving today total when you count the off-roading I did in the morning and then getting here and then the off-roading I did in the evening, going through Arches. This was a lot of seat time. This is also the only day that I didn't give the Pajero Mini a really consistent break. Usually I'll drive for about an hour, hour and a half, and then I'll let it cool down. I'll do something else. This one was pretty much like maybe a 5-minute break every once in a while, but I was just pushing to get all the way through. That track this morning ended up taking longer than I thought it would, and I'm not disappointed about it, but it's definitely put me a little bit back, but that's okay because I'm here now and I'm so excited to be in Moab. This is my last bucket list place, so I've kind of gone in a figure 8. And that's intentional. I'm not trying to just get home. I'm trying to go on an adventure. And so I found all these places specifically in northern Arizona and southern Utah that I wanted to visit. And I've got to hit all of them. And this is the last one. I actually don't have a ton of a plan of what I'm going to do today or do while I'm here. I've got to wake up tomorrow, go to a coffee shop, get some internet, figure it out. And then I've got some semblance of a plan. My big goal is to do something that I wouldn't normally do if I had the Gen 3 or the Hoop Tarot here. Those are a little more more serious. I've done some pretty awesome trails out here, and I've got a whole bucket list I want to do with them. But the Pajero Mini has a different kind of skill set, and therefore other things can be fun. And so I'm hoping to find some easier trails that have a lot of viewpoints and are just fun to explore, and go and tackle those tomorrow. Now it is starting to get pretty chilly. It's supposed to be about 28, maybe 26 degrees tonight. Tomorrow is going to be pretty warm during the day, but then as I look towards the north, things are looking very cold and very snowy. And so I'm starting to figure out my escape route to get all the way home, and my plans are changing just about every day as I get a weather update. But I'll look into that tomorrow as well, and I'll keep you guys posted on what that's going to look like. But right now it's looking like this is going to be the last big hurrah for me, and then I'm shooting pretty much straight up. So thanks for joining me today, guys. Thanks for coming along in the journey, and I'll see you in the morning.